necessarily reflect those of the advertisers, owners, or management of Pacific Telestations, LLC. For comments, opinions, and questions, please email Jess Lujan at jessthebuzz@gmail.com. The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting show tonight. I've got Captain Tom Stambaugh from the Salvation Army Guam. And actually, first let me say, welcome to Guam.
Thank you.
Belated welcome to Guam.
Right.
But they're captains, actually. You and your wife are both captains of Salvation Army, yeah?
That's correct,
Okay.
yeah. We're both captains, yeah.
Tonight, you were on my radio show a couple of weeks back, Cap. But I don't want to... This show I want to reserve to tell your story, okay? Not necessarily Salvation Army. We know the great things that you folks do, not just in Guam, but nationwide, if not worldwide. But you guys do an amazing work. But your story, and I think it's a fantastic one, and I think that the people of Guam deserve to hear that, because there's some things. How did certain individuals get into a certain profession, certain calling, and there had to have been a calling. Please welcome to Guam again, and thank you for being this morning here tonight. I'm sorry, with us.
Yeah,
Your story.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that. Thanks for the offer to come. Mm-hmm. No one usually wakes up in the morning and decides they want to be a Salvation Army officer. It's just one of those professions that normally people are called to. It's like a ministry, it's a vocation. And so growing up in the Salvation Army, it was my church. It's my anchor. It was where I found a place to go to when my house was chaotic and dysfunctional. It just was my refuge, if you would. And it was the place where I found Christian people that instilled values in me and pushed me to be a man and a man of God, for certain. And from there, just really learned and gravitated towards wiser men, older guys, that I did not have that father figure in my life. And so they really kind of guided me in the right way, how to be a good husband, how to be a good dad, how to just have that fighting spirit of keep getting back up and pushing forward. And it was in that time where, in that midst of that dysfunction, that Salvation Army really became a second home for me. The church side, the social side, whenever we were out doing disaster services or helping the community with food or anything like that, and it just really opened my eyes to a greater good, a greater positive. And over time, at the age of 16, really felt God calling me to be a Salvation Army officer. And so that's really when my heart opened up to the idea that this is something that perhaps would be a lifelong pursuit as a vocation.
So Cap, take us back years now, because you said early on there were some things happening in your life, probably within the family unit, that were very challenging. So you're one of the guys who's been there, done that. I can relate to you. You know, so the things that you see here in Guam, again, are not foreign to you. You've been there.
That's true.
Maybe not exactly that road that they've taken, but you can relate to these individuals that are going through these challenges in their life. Now, as compared to yourself when you were younger, again, some of the programs you guys have again cater to maybe more of the mature adults that come in there. But you at an early age, the Salvation Army was an intervention, basically. So how does that, again, for the folks who, for the individuals, for kids now who be listening tonight or viewing us tonight, that may have some problems, but maybe they said, "Hey, wow, Salvation Army is not necessarily for kids." Please.
That's true. Well, in growing up in a dysfunctional home, very blue-collar workers, we learned at a young age to have a work ethic. You get up early, you work hard, and you never steal or cheat. We're a good Italian family, so you work hard with what you got, and you always try to make yourself better. But I grew up in an environment in which my dad was out of the home when I was 6 years old. A lot of alcoholism. My dad spent a lot of time at the bar after work, and along came a stepfather who also had an alcoholism problem. And so, but it turned violent, and so our condition in life was anytime my stepdad would drink, and it was a seasonal drinking. It wasn't all the time. It was benders. And so anytime there was that activity, we ran away because it was super violent. So we would be gone from the home 6 months, 5 months, and coming back, going forth, and watching domestic violence or watching the violent element of alcoholism around me. And being the middle kid, I was the one that felt like I needed to step up and help my family. And so at a very young age, instead of playing catch or playing football, I was out collecting cans or asking people if I could push their carts to their car from the grocery store just to bring a loaf of bread home for my family, that kind of stuff. It was very, grow up very quickly. But there was no fault in my mom's side of it.
But she provided the foundation, then that base, you know, because and let me just ask this, because life nowadays does not the challenges that happen does not provide that foundation that you had in regards to the strong work ethic, get up early, work hard, and all that to bring home the loaf of bread. You know, anymore life is so easy or lackadaisical in that sense. Most people grow up with no sense of, again, that solid foundation. You took that foundation because it was taught you. It was inbred in you, basically.
Right.
But what do you say again to the folks out there that didn't have that foundation, and maybe their families, their moms and dads, maybe they didn't have that foundation as well?
Right. What I would say is, life, as you know, Jesse, knocks you down sometimes. And there are challenges as a young person, as an adult, and life knocks you down, but the inner fight is to get back up, dust yourself off, and push forward. You don't forget what happened when you got knocked down. You don't forget the struggles that it took, but you get back up, the resiliency of getting back up, and still pushing through and setting big goals for yourself. Dream big. You know, the world is unto us, and so we light a passion in our lives, and as long as we have a guiding passion, a goal, and I think that helps us get back up when we get knocked down. You know, and it makes us stronger. I look back at my life, and despite the alcoholism and the ugliness that we've seen with a lot of that was made us stronger as a family. And also, too, seeing that alcoholism or drug addiction is not the answer to escape problems. Sometimes you have to face it head on, sober, and with a clear head, and being laser focused on what you want in life. You know, make that be your, whether that's a good mom, a good dad, providing a home, making sure that everybody is taken care of in the home, or bigger aspirations of going to school, getting an education. I think those kind of things, the inner fire, make it rocket fuel.
But here's my point, Cap, is that because you talk about a home, okay? And a home is not just a house. A home is rooted in the foundation on the moral upbringing of that. That's what makes a home. Okay,
right.
That's what makes a home. Now, whether it's a single parent or a family with you know, both parents and the kids, okay, a home, regardless of how poor you are, you lived on a loaf of bread. A home is, again, the family unit. Okay. How about the ones that grow up in a house as opposed to a home and don't have that? I mean, again, we are lucky. We're brought up now, maybe not as we were maybe challenged in maybe the sense of the economic situation, but you were rich in again the moral upbringing, that foundation. How about the ones that again cannot relate to that home unit?
Right. I think that again, for every individual, first is find hope in God first and foremost. If you don't have that home, that unit that we talked about, that family unit, that strength, that resiliency, and if it's a broken home, or if it's a home where the parents are not very interested in the young person, my anchor was first finding hope in God. He's always had my back. He's always been the one to provide and show me a better way. That would be my first.
And challenged you as well at times, right?
Absolutely. And there are times that there is just you, God, in the Bible, and you're praying your heart out, and you're seeking answers, and God shows up. And even in that brokenness, in that broken home, and in that environment where you do feel alone, I think that's when faith becomes real. And then that carries you through as you begin to find your own identity, that God puts you on this earth for a certain purpose. Regardless of the home structure, you are important. You have a purpose and a mission, and God has value in all of us. And so I think that's the first. Yeah.
You know, we're going to take a quick break, but one of the things that the mistake I guess most people make in regards to, they said, but I do have God in my life. I do have Jesus in my life. The one mistake they said, well, when you're seeking for answers, you're asking for the answers to be delivered the way you want them delivered.
Right.
This is what I want.
Right.
You know, can I win this lottery? Okay, and maybe that's not what's in the cards for you.
Right.
You say, wait a minute. If that's what you want to do, then you don't have to ask me.